welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. And today I would like to take you on a houseplant tour. And I will begin over here. I'm in the loft area of my home. And here is when I first saw this plant, I thought it was a fern. But actually, it is called a Phoenix Robellini. And this is a relatively new plant that I've acquired, and it's really beautiful. It doesn't take a whole lot of sunlight, and it doesn't take a whole lot of watering. It's been doing well so far. Over here, I have another plant that I have already divided to grow additional plants. And this one, if we could focus in, let's see here. This one is called, let's see, Sandariniana. It's kind of hard to read. The writing is so small. But this plant is from Cameroon. And when I purchased the plant, it had about 4 pieces in it. So I've divided it into 3 different plants. Over here is the Pixie Dixie Ivy. And it's in a hanging basket that I'm hanging from this table here. And here I have a huge potho. And as you can see, it is trailing all over the floor. I have taken so many pieces from this plant and have propagated so many additional plants. And of course, my goal this year is to sell more houseplants at the farmers market. So I will be taking several pieces of this plant to make additional plants to sell at the market. Over here I have the Schiflera plant, and this plant is a native of Taiwan, and it grows absolutely beautiful. Here I have a large ficus tree, and this ficus tree gets its sunlight from this window over here, as well as the plants that I just shared with you here. They also receive sunlight from this window here. And of course, this is the Schiflera plant. And I have it sitting in an owl wicker basket. And under my ficus tree, I have several plants, as you can see. I have another small Pixie Dixie that I've taken a piece off of my other plant and created a little small plant. I have this plant here that I divided, and I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I divided this plant into several different plants of its own. And I like the look of combining the additional plants in one pot. And it's also a space saver for me. I've also placed a piece of potho inside of the pot, and it has already started trailing out of the pot and rooting itself inside of the pot in the soil here. Here's another very interesting plant. I don't remember the name of it, but I thought the leaves were very beautiful. They're a dark purple looking color. Over here, I have the Mona Lavender. And this is also a very beautiful plant to propagate. It propagates very easily. All you have to do is stick it in soil, and in a couple of weeks, it has taken off and rooted. Here's a peace lily. It's a very small one. I need to repot it into a larger pot. And here's the ZZ plant. And it was much, much smaller when I first purchased it, and as you can see, it has really grown. On the table here, I have another potho, and I've combined it with this plant here. They tend to grow well together, and you can hardly tell the difference between the two unless you look at it really closely. And this is the heart-shaped philodendron, as you can see. And I will be taking cuttings from this plant and making hanging baskets, because this particular plant loves to hang, and it looks really well in a hanging basket. Over here is a peace lily, and ever since I've taken cuttings from it, it seems to not be doing very well, but I'm going to keep looking at it to see what I can do to bring it back to its glory. I have another potho here, and it has taken off from this pot and grown all over the floor, all along the back side of this wall here, as you can see, and trailing down on the floor. Here I have my orchid, and this orchid is getting ready to bloom again, as you can see. Here's my Fiddle Leaf Fig that I propagated from a stem cutting. Here are some more pothos that I'm rooting in water. And what I want to do is I want a large pot that's very deep, because I want to have it to wrap around a large stick. And so as you can see, it's already rooted. But I wanted to develop more foliage and more roots before I put it in a pot. And here I have a philodendron. And I have had this particular flower for a very long time, and it has gone outside, inside, out, in for several years. And I had it in another area of my home where it was getting neglected because I wasn't passing by it or seeing it on a regular basis. And so I've brought it up here where I can attend to it. But it's a very beautiful plant, especially when it's getting a lot of sun. You see a whole lot of foliage on it. Over here in this corner, I have another plant that I've taken from a cutting. This is an additional plant that I've made it. This is the Dieffenbachia. And here I have a cane plant as well. And as you can see, the flowers are really doing well. When I can't get out into the garden, I enjoy working with my houseplants and taking care of them. I have one more area to show you where I have a lot of my houseplants. And this is what I want to do with the potho that I'm rooting in water. You see how this stick is here? And I want to train the pothos to grow around the stick. So I took some very long stem cuttings to be able to achieve this particular look. And here in the living room, I have another ficus tree that is touching the ceiling. You can see that there, and it's getting light from this window here. And I have to turn it usually once a month, because what will happen is all the leaves will be on one side and the other side will not get any sun. But as you can see in the pot that's holding the ficus tree, I have a wandering Jew. And I have taken so many cuttings from one plant, and it roots very easily, just like the what is it, Mona the Mona Lavender, excuse me. It roots very easily. Just take a piece off, stick it in dirt, and before you know it, it's a whole new plant. So I will be taking cuttings from these as well and selling at the farmers market. Here is a tropical plant, and there were two in the pot when I initially purchased it, and I've created two plants out of it by separating them and putting one in each pot. Here's a sago palm, and here in growing zone 7A, I can only grow it as a house plant and put it out on the patio during the summertime. And here is a Boston fern, and I kept this fern over the winter. And what I'm going to do, instead of purchasing ferns every year, I'm going to divide this one fern into two, and that way I won't have to purchase ferns every year. Just try to bring one or two in and then divide those plants. Just want to share that with you. And here are more plants that I have divided and taken cuttings from to make additional plants. And I will be doing this from now until May, when the farmers market begins. But my goal is to sell at least 100 houseplants this year. And with the pothos, the wandering Jews, and the lavender plant that I have, the Mona Lavender, that is very achievable because they root so easily. But here you can see all the different types of plants that I've been able to divide and create more plants out of. And of course, a lot of these pots, for example, this one was $1 at the Dollar Tree, so I didn't spend much on that pot. These, of course, were the little 10 or 12 packs that come from the Dollar Tree. I may, once this grows a little bigger, up pot it to something a little prettier. But like these pots here, these were recycled pots at Lowe's, and feels almost like tin, but these were in the recycled bin at Lowe's, so it didn't cost me anything for those. And of course, I love to purchase clearance plants from Lowe's, and so if I can get a house plant and nurture it back to health and be able to divide it or propagate it, that's what I will be doing from now until May and beyond, in preparation for the farmers market. So just wanted to share with you my collection of houseplants and how I am dividing and propagating houseplants to add additional income for the homestead. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future videos. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye-bye.